easier like this, a top-secret rendezvous in London where I've just met up with my two star assistants, hardman actor Gareth Hunt, and looking as stunning as ever, delightful actress Joanna Lumley. Now, they're going to help me on a high-speed cloak and dagger mission, and according to our watches, synchronized, of course. So we have about 60 seconds, so let's get into the car. Our man is around the corner in a hotel. We're about to come out for pictures before he goes to California. And we have no margin for error, Gareth and Joanna, so let's go. You get out first. I'll be right behind you, and I'll keep as much as I can out of sight here so that you get to him first. This is it. Let's get there in one piece, guys. No risks.
Sharp left-hander, Ironman. There we go.
Now, don't forget, you're first out, Joanna. I gotta turn my back as far as I can. He gets spotted too quickly.
What are we doing, eh?
We're doing some pictures.
They must have told me you were
Patrick, your two martial arts colleagues helped me on a rather special mission so that we could capture their actor boss, John Steed, alias Patrick Macnee. Tonight, this is your life.
Hey,
Bring us to the driving girl. Now, if you like to travel in the manner to which you're accustomed, we have lots of surprises for you back at the theater.
Goodness me.
That really did take your breath back a bit there.
Yes, it really did.
Now, I couldn't have been in better company, Patrick, of course, when I surprised you, because like so many people that you've worked with in your long career, Joanna and Gareth there became not just colleagues, but great friends.
So right.
As did three stunning star assistants going back 23 years who are not here on stage with you tonight only because professional work prevents them. The girls who crash-banged walloped onto our screens like this.
What are you doing?
Even if those various stars are working in places as far apart as New York, London, and Scotland, tonight they still greet you on screen, and warmly, as you can see from the very first, Kathy Gale, Honor Blackman.
Hello, Patrick. Hello, Eamon. Patrick, do you remember the episode of the Avengers when I was supposed to ride a motorbike? And they fell on the floor with surprise because I could ride a motorbike. You were very impressed, I remember, but not sufficiently impressed that you would ride pillion with me. If I remember rightly, you said something like, no offense, darling, but I think I've been living on borrowed time since the war.
That's true.
I send you lots of love and a great big kiss.
Thank you, Honor Blackman. And over in New York, just before she leaves for the theater, where she's appearing in the smash hit Broadway comedy Noises Off, another assistant recalls rather special noises she made in your ear, Linda Thorson.
Oh, Steve. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Eamon. Patrick, do you know why I was just doing that? Do you remember when I got the part of Tara King? I said to myself I was going to play it as if she were madly in love with Steve, which wasn't very difficult to do. And so whenever I've been running across a field or tried to escape from somewhere, you found me, I'd always throw my arms around you and go, oh, Steve. And you always had to cut and go again. And I used to see this look on your faces as you knew it was going to happen, because the American censor said it was far too passionate and I had to cut out the breathing. Anyway, thanks for being so fantastic always. And here's a kiss without the passion and the heavy breathing.
Thank you, Linda Thorson. And from New York, we go to Scotland, where she has to be tonight, to yet another glamorous assistant, Emma Peel, which apparently stood for Man Appeal, a sentiment I go along entirely with for Diana Rigg.
Darling Patrick, the strongest memory I have of those years we spent together was your wonderful ability to make me laugh. When things were at their grimmest, and we were behind schedule, and the scripts weren't right, and all sorts of things were going wrong, you used to say something, and off we'd go, giggling. The other thing, which, to my great joy, stemmed from our relationship, was a very deep affection, which has survived all the intervening years. Much, much love.
Thank you, Diana Rigg. And of course, your latest partners in the new Avengers helped me surprise you tonight. And Gareth, you and Joan are always being questioned by fans about John Steed.
Yes, the other evening in the theatre, it was lovely. I came up from the stage door and there's two lovely people there. And the first thing they said to me, when are you going to bring that lovely John Steed down here to see us?
Lovely.
And what about Joanna? Is she questioned as well?
The most often asked question I get is, when is the Avengers coming back? And the second one is always, is he really like that? And I say, what? And they say, well, does he speak like that? And I say, certainly. Does he dress like that? And I say, well, yes, but better. And they say, is he lovely? And the answer to that is, because I never have time to explain to all the people who ask me about Patrick, is that he's an extraordinary man. He's so kind and so funny, and is one of the truest and loyalest friends I'll ever know. Love you, Patrick.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gareth. Well, a warm compliment from your latest lovely assistant, but I wonder how many remember your very first avenging partner in 1961?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, a gay old thing, aren't you?
Yeah, she's my favorite one.
You were saying?
No, no, where was I? The organized hiring of trained
No,
towers.
you'll pass that. It's something about a special demonstration in the Chelsea area.
Oh, yeah, right.
The star of the 1960 hit series Police Surgeon, from which the Avengers developed, stage and screen star Ian Hendry. Ian, we had a glimpse there of memorable performances from the two of you.
Well, you can't fill in 30 seconds, can you? A whole first year of the Avengers.
He practically invented it.
Thank you, Ian Hendry.
Thank you.
Well, Patrick Macnee, this is your life, and you were born February the 6th, 1922, son of the late Scots-born racehorse trainer Daniel Shrimp Macnee, pictured here as an officer in World War I. And you were brought up in the famous Berkshire racing town of Lambourne. Not surprisingly, in that environment, your first pull on horseback at the age of only 4.
Sure.
There you are. And alongside you is someone who, as you know, has not been in the best of health recently, but aged 85, from her home in Frome, Somerset. She very much wants a word with you. I need hardly tell you, it's your mother, Thea.
Hello, Pet darling. It was lovely to see you the other day, and that is the truth. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely evening, Pet darling. Hope to see you soon, Pet.
Thank you, Mrs. Dorothea Macnee. Well, of course, Patrick, you've always been a hero to your mother, but as we all know, you're a screen hero to millions.
And you know, Patrick, that's perhaps not surprising. After all, it is in the family blood.
Your younger brother, Jimmy Macnee.
Yes, how nice to see. Very good.
Jimmy, how do you mean heroism in the family blood?
Well, you know, Eamon, and of course it's not generally known, that we are related to, can you guess, Robin Hood. Isn't that so, Pat?
Well, had Robin Hood existed, yes.
Well...
Because, I think he was the first Earl of Huntingdon, and our great-grandfather was the 13th Earl of Huntingdon. It's very complicated, and yes, but that's true.
It's also very impressive.
Is it?
Yes. I do sit down.
Ah, sorry, right.
By the time you're just 12 years old, it's not a suit of Lincoln green for you, but the top hat, white tie, and tails of Eton. Now, there you are in that world-famous school uniform. 2 years later, you appear to have aged quite a bit, albeit on stage in a school production of Richard II, and grease paint grips you because here you are in 1939, this time as Macduff in Macbeth. But let's just take a second look at you in your Eton top hat.
But Patrick, that's not how I remember you wearing your top hat.
He was with you at Eton in the 30s and went on to stardom himself as a founder member of the Goons. Yes, Michael Bentine. Michael, is that how you remember Patrick wearing his top hat?
Yes, indeed. And of course, you got beaten for it instantly. Because we got beaten like gongs, didn't we? We had...
Yeah, speak for yourself. I like that. But I never wore my hat like that.
You
I
did?
wore it on the front of me.
You did?
Yes.
No, I used to wear it like that. Because we used to keep things in it. And I used to keep frogs in it during the winter. And ice cream during the summer. And he used to keep betting slips in it.
That's right. I ran a very successful book, yes.
You did very well.
Flogging, yes.
But that's what he really did. He kept everything under his hat.
I believe every word of it, and thank you, Michael Bentine.
God bless you.
Leaving Eton, you first go to work at your father's racing stables, but your appetite for the stage whetted at Eton your odds-on favorite for a stage career. And in 1940, you go to the Webber Douglas Drama School in London, where you meet and later marry an aspiring young actress. Now, that marriage lasts for over 14 years, and you have 2 children.
Sure.
But lengthy separations, often abroad, as you remold your career after wartime service in the Navy, sadly leads to a reluctant divorce 28 years ago. But these days, someone very special lives close to you in Palm Springs, the daughter of that marriage.
In fact, Patty Nee, the only reason I came to Palm Springs was because of my health.
In fact, you thought she was in Palm Springs tonight, but we've flown her here, your daughter Jenny. Well, as I said, you thought Jenny was in Palm Springs tonight.
And Pa, you thought I was in Los Angeles.
Yes, of course, your television producer's son, Rupert. Jenny, you said your father took you to live in Palm Springs because of your health.
Yes, that's right, Eamon. I've always been an asthmatic, and the doctors used to say you really should try living in a sunny, warm desert climate. And then Patrick bought a house in Palm Springs, which is about 100 miles from Los Angeles, and I went out there for a holiday. It did wonders for my health, and so I stayed.
And Rupert, there's someone else very close to all three of you who these days also lives in California.
There certainly is, and we're very pleased about it because in a way it's brought us all together as a family, which is great.
Something marvelous, Jenny, has happened.
Yes, marvelous, exciting, and unexpected.
That's because that someone who's also going to live in California is none other than your wartime bride, mother of Jenny and Rupert, and she's here too, Barbara Poole.
Too much. How lovely.
Well, Barbara, how lovely indeed you could join Patrick and Jenny and Rupert, of course, here tonight. Now, when Patrick was a romantic young naval officer on the 6th day of D-Day landings in 1944, you thought you'd never see him again, didn't you?
Yes, you're right. I did, Eamon. In fact, that night, Pat's motor torpedo boat was blown clean out of the water. He lost a great friend and all his lovely crew. The extraordinary thing was that Patrick had bad bronchitis, and that was the first mission he'd missed in the whole war. And the medical officer put him into hospital, so we have him here today.
That was in Chichester, wasn't it? Yes. I was very lucky.
After the war, Patrick, you picked up the threads of your theatrical career as best you could and make many new friends. And years later, a close pal of yours from those days becomes, like yourself, a big television star and invites you to join him in his own television spectacular.
Which all seemed a remarkably good idea at the time, until I found out John Steed's darkest secrets.
The star of that spectacular back in 1972, star of the hit comedy Father Dear Father and so many more, Patrick Cargill. Patrick, what's all this about Patrick's dark secrets?
Yes, well, you see, we've known each other since the late 40s, early 50s.
That's true, yeah.
Yes, we're both young and handsome. Well, I was, anyway. And so, you see, when I was offered this spectacular, he was an obvious choice to be invited as a guest. Well, it was a sort of song, dance, you know, a semi-musical type show.
This is so humiliating.
Oh, it is, yes. And, well, the whole world was waiting for Pat Macnee to sing. Rather like the whole world waiting for Greta Garbo to laugh.
No.
Well, I can only tell you that Garbo's laugh was much more successful than Macnee's singing.
Yeah.
Coming up now, we see the combined histrionic talents of the two Patricks in their version of the Battle of Trafalgar.
Kiss me, hardy.
What, in front of all these sailors?
Thank you, Patrick Cargill. Well, Patrick, back in 1952, you're at Windsor Rep when your first important television chance comes right out of the blue. In fact, for more than 3,500 miles away when you pick up the phone and take a call from Toronto.
Hello, Patrick. How would you like to come over to Canada and try your luck on television? I need you.
That call more than 30 years ago came from a former actor pal who's become a television director in Canada. These days, award-winning Hollywood director of Rich Man, Poor Man, Roots, and many more hits, David Greene. David, why of all people did you ring and invite Patrick to take part and offer him that big TV break?
Do you really want the truth, Eamon?
The truth,
No,
David.
please, no.
Well, the truth was that I'd only just started to direct. I'd been an actor before with Pat at Windsor. And I wasn't quite sure I knew how to do it, and I thought the best thing to do was to get the best actor I knew in the world to help me pull the bluff. And he was the man for the job. As a matter of fact, after that, he played so many great leading roles on Canadian television that people got sick of looking at his face. They thought he was the test card. You know?
Yes, it's true. We did do.
Thank you, David Greene.
Bless you for coming.
From Canada, you move on to Hollywood with a part in the film Les Girls in 1956. The day after you'd finished making that film, you decided to take a drive from Los Angeles to Palm Springs. On the way back, you mistake the road signs and swing off the highway and find yourself heading for the desert and a heavy lorry thundering straight towards you. Your passenger has a word in your ear.
Don't want to worry you, Patrick, but I think that lorry driver is fast asleep.
He'd been working with you in Hollywood. You'd taken him on a sightseeing tour. Your old pal, Leslie Phillips.
He has a different story, I may say. The story you're going to hear from Leslie Phillips is not true.
Leslie, tell us what the unsettled steed
I'm not going to
did
tell the one
in
about that woman.
No, the one about that car thing, there were two different stories. I, with great heroism, got us off the road and saved Leslie Phillips' life.
Now,
and the other car did go over the ravine.
What's the true story, Leslie?
Story is...
Well, what happened was this.
Don't believe it.
We were going up this highway, And I saw this lorry coming towards us, and the driver fell over the wheel, either dead or asleep, and it came towards us. So I looked at Patrick, you know, and must say, do something, you know. And he was ice cool. He didn't do anything at all. So I grabbed the wheel because I didn't want to die.
This is the untrue part. On you go.
And I threw us into the desert.
He's such a hero, you see, Leslie Phillips. It's completely untrue. But with the quickness of my mind, we were saved. On you go, on you go.
And on the way back to Los Angeles, Patrick said, when we recovered, he said, Leslie, it would have been awful if you'd been killed on your last day in Hollywood. I said, it'd been bloody awful if I'd been killed any day in Hollywood. But anyway, it would have been even worse because we wouldn't have seen Pat as Steve.
Thank you, Leslie Phillips. Now, in Hollywood, you renew the close friendship you had with another popular actor on Canadian television in those days, someone who was to go on to international stardom when he donned the Stetson, climbed into the saddle, and rode the range like this. Yes, of course, Ben Cartwright in Bonanza. He has to be in Los Angeles tonight, but 30 years on, he's still a great pal of yours. And on that screen, Patrick, he talks to you now, Bonanza's Lorne Greene.
Hello, Patrick.
Hello.
You realize we go back more than 30 years when we appeared on Canadian television? Our roles were always different. There was never any jealousy, except when I was playing Othello one time, and you were playing Cassio, and I thought you were fooling around with Desdemona, and I never did get that settled now. Of course, I got rid of Desdemona, but that's another story. So, Patrick, the honor you're receiving is well-deserved because you are a winner. Not only as a professional, but as a true friend.
Thank you, Lorne Greene in Los Angeles. 1960 sees you back in Britain and the launch of the Avengers. Now, to this day, it's as popular as ever. But, of course, as well as becoming the hero of millions the world over as John Steed, you've also packed in audiences the world over in a wide variety of roles. From Sleuth on Broadway to the Hollywood-made television series Empire. And one of your most recent Hollywood roles is playing a sophisticated jewel thief in Heart to Heart.
Too bad you're already a very rich man. I could use 2 intelligent associates, but I suppose you're hopelessly honest. Pity.
Yes, it must be very frustrating for you.
Until now, perhaps. But now that I'm going to join the ranks of the rich, I can appreciate the delights of legitimacy. I shall retire to a seacoast, beneath the sun, in sinful luxury.
Well, those 2 great stars are at work in Hollywood tonight. And if you look at the screen, we're going to Hollywood itself now to hear from Jonathan Hart himself, Robert Wagner.
Oh, Saint man.
Hello, Eamon. Patrick.
Darling, what are we doing?
Oh, This Is Your Life. It's Patrick Macnee. This Is Your Life.
Patrick Macnee?
Patrick.
Where?
He's right in there.
Oh, hello, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick. Patrick, you're a wonderful man, and indeed, it's a pleasure to be a part of your life.
We loved working with you, and we hope you'll come back to us very soon. Have a nice time in England and have a lovely time with your life. We love you.
Thank you, Robert Wagner and Stephanie Powers in Hollywood. But Patrick, someone discovered at the very last moment it might be just about possible to make it, but only at full throttle. Sounds like she made it.
That's very difficult.
Mrs. Gale herself, that marvelous actress, and I know cherished friend to this day, Honor Blackman.
What a lovely
Patrick, one last surprise. From the earliest beginnings of your career, there's one person who's never had the slightest doubt that one day you'd be an international star. And she insisted nothing would stop her coming to your party tonight. Yes, at the age of 85, she's here, of course. Your mother, Thea. Patrick Macnee, this is your life.
Oh, bless you. Thank you for coming, darling.